learning from other cultures. You know, we've had conversations like this, but I feel like people are so afraid of learning of other cultures because of this like call out online culture, of like you're cultural appropriating, you're cultural appropriating. And I've done a podcast on this before with my friend Excel, who's a Puerto Rican Taino shaman. And we were talking about how while there is totally such thing as cultural appropriation, we definitely see it happening. Like we were talking about how people like do like ayahuasca ceremonies. It's like everyone's white. No one has ever studied with an indigenous. There's no right relations. Like there is cultural appropriation happening and that's real and we need to be mindful of it. However, me learning from you and your indigenous roots or me buying local clothes from the local artisan that maybe this made her entire week that I bought this from her, and also that I'm sharing it with other people to put a different beauty standard out there is actually raising these communities. But that's what this agenda wants us to feel, that white is right. If we all dress white, if we all wear fucking Abercrombie and Fitch, if we all straighten our hair, you're not going to offend anyone. So everyone, let's do that. But God forbid I wear something of another culture. Oh no, you're cultural appropriating. Okay, so if I wear some Shein, am I good? It was literally made by slaves. But am I good there?
Wearing plastic.
If I'm wearing microplastics with lead in it, am I good there? You know, and I would love to dress you in Persian clothing. Make you into a little Persian doll. I would love that because I want to share my culture, and it's showing you wearing this every day has shown me the beauty of your culture. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And I can't say this is my culture. I can't say that, you know, but I can enjoy it and appreciate it and learn from it. And I feel like we are so like on the fence of like, well, I can't learn that because I'm not from there. And again, that's the divide and conquer thing. And we see that happen too, especially in like brown and black cultures, that we're fighting against each other, you know, instead of looking at the system that's making us fight.
It's all about the intention. So you can appreciate versus appropriate by setting the intention and doing it in a right relation and taking care of the people and uplifting the culture rather than taking and extracting. So
exactly. And I think that's also really important. Let's talk about with herbs and plants.
Yeah.
How can people, because I know you have a cacao company, and how can people buy cacao, herbs, even work with medicine in a way that's in right relation and not extractive?
Yeah. So, you know, with getting cacao, that's why I source my own cacao. Somalux Cacao is sourced by the Mayan Women's Collective, and it's better than fair trade. And then I also source from Mexico, which is a small family farm. So getting and sourcing from the right places, and there are many different ceremonial cacaos, but knowing that they're made ceremonially means they're made with intention. They're made in ceremony. They're made with blessings, and you're taking care of the people, and they're also making it to take care of you and your heart, knowing it's like heart medicine, right? So sourcing from the right place, as well with herbs and things. You don't want to just buy, you know, your tea bags from the grocery store. You know, you want to source your herbs maybe from a co-op if that's all you have, or the local apothecary, and find the herbs that are right for you to work with as well, knowing that you also have an ancestral plant that you can work with. So learn from your ancestors, you know, do the research to find like what type of plants were your ancestors working with. And cacao is one of those plants that is for sure meant for everyone. That's why we see chocolate. But when you eat chocolate and you're eating chocolate from the grocery store, right, it's highly processed. It strips away the fat, the living enzymes, and you're just left with the flavor of chocolate. And there's tons of sugar.
It's not even cacao.
It's not even cacao. It's just a little bit of the cocoa is the flavor, right? So it smells like it, and it tastes a little bit like it. But really, cacao is naturally bitter. So I can make a cacao drink taste like chocolate, right? But you can't make the chocolate feel like cacao. I've never said that, but that's exactly what it is. And cacao, when you have it in its purest form, it's heart medicine. It's so expansive. It's like this rooting effect, this grounding effect, also upliftment at the same time. It's a spiritual aid, right? As well as like this superfood with all of these beautiful properties that make you feel really good on a physical level, but on a deeper level, it's so supportive with opening your heart. But yeah, also,
and it's such a beautiful way to connect with friends, because we always have cacao ceremonies with our friends, and her cacao is amazing. We'll link it below. But it just allows, like, you know, when it's groups of women, like we can all get very chatty and in our heads and like, even like talking about all of our problems. But then it's like, let's all gather, like we, you know, put out a beautiful mat like this and we sit And, you guide us through a meditation and we sit with the warm cacao in our hands. So can you share, how can someone do an at-home cacao ceremony?
Yes. So making your cacao already in ceremony, like setting the space, playing beautiful music, creating that beautiful ritual already, chopping it, just intentionally being really present with the process. And then when you have that cup in your hand, setting an intention and a prayer with yourself, giving yourself the time to be present with the process and the experience, and set your intention to feel whatever you're wanting to feel in the space. You can also help it with your creations, right? It's so supportive in creativity. I wrote my first book on it, A Child of Magic, because it supported me and connected with my inner child. So allow yourself to play with it and allow your inner child to come out in that space. And I have a free guide also on my website, so y'all can dive into that.
It's just such a great mindfulness practice because I feel like when I'm eating a chocolate bar, I'm scarfing it down my face. You're like, give me all of it in my mouth. Whereas with the cacao, you can't because it's so rich. And it's you're using your two hands. And I'm like, that's how we were meant. It's even in Japan, you see people in all these cultures, two hands, because it's mindfulness. Whereas we're even in Europe, there's no concept of a coffee to go. Whereas in America, it's almost weird to have it there. Everything is to go. We're giant venti cup of coffee, but you're not even being present for a sip of it. And you just consumed all this, plus a lot of them have tons of sugar in it. So you're really on a sugar high and caffeine high. And you're scarfing it down and it's never enough. And then you need another one and another one because you're not mindful, where it's just anything you have in life. Food, sex, conversation. If you're mindful with it, just a little is enough.
And feel gratitude for it.
Feel gratitude for it. Feel the sensation of it in your mouth. I don't know what we're talking about right now. And just really be mindful with the experience. And I loved that with the cacao because it was I could feel it go down my throat. And I've sat in some cacao ceremonies, it's hours long. And then you're chanting and you're singing together and it's so beautiful. And guys, it's literally cacao. It's not a psychoactive in any way, but you feel different.
100%. Yeah. There's so many beautiful properties within that support that feeling of euphoria. You have anandamide, which is the bliss molecule. Theobromine gently energizes. Then you have magnesium that relaxes you and feeds your brain, which we're super deficient in the Western world, in magnesium. It's filled with antioxidants. It's a powerhouse. It's even more than blueberries. It's vitamins and nutrients. It has all these beautiful things that support that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And actually reminds me of similar frequency of saffron. Saffron's very big in Persian culture, but it enhances dopamine in your brain. So it boosts mood. It brings arousal in your body. It warms your body, very similar properties. Yep. So it's interesting how in different parts of the world, different herbs and plants grew for similar things. There's also mucuna, which is more in Central America, which is, the dopamine bean, they call it. So when we connect to what Earth is naturally providing for us, and that's what I miss, of other countries. You go to a fruit market there. The fruits are so sweet. The vegetables, a tomato's a tomato. Whereas here it's bland.
It's so bland.
And I feel that's why we need so much of it, because it doesn't have as much, because it's bland, doesn't mean it doesn't have enough nutrients either, and flavor. So we're needing more and more, but it's plastic and we're never satiated. Whereas in Peru and many parts of the world, you have a little bit of something so sweet. It's so rich.
So flavorful.
Yeah.
All the fruits, all the vegetables.
Growing our own food needs to happen.
Yes. When are we going to get that land?
A new life in New Hampshire.
Exactly.
We decided we're moving to New Hampshire, guys. Yeah. Where dreams come true.
We said it here, so it's happening.
We said it here first. We'll be growing our own food.
Yes.
Living with the ladies and the animals.
In chat, yeah.
You're welcome to join us.